try to do something somewhat productive today. I didn't buy a bat wing. I borrowed this from a buddy. Bat wing would be handy, but I can't justify the cost of one for what little I would use it. But this is obviously the wheat stubble. I just want to get it knocked down so that it doesn't look like such an eyesore. I got some water standing out here. But I guess quick rundown as to why this isn't getting plowed. This field is hopefully getting tiled yet this winter, maybe, or next. Hopefully it's getting tiled before sometime when I need to plant something in it next fall or next spring. The tile system's all designed except for the outlet. That's what we're trying to get sorted out. Basically, there was going to be 3 or 4 laterals, I can't remember, that run the front of this hillside, and then it was 5 or 6 laterals in the short rows up here. Gonna be roughly 4.5 to 5 acres getting drained. It should take care of all the wet spots this field has. However, the outlet, that's the hang up. The initial plan was to take it and run it down here along this waterway all the way along the back, and then there's a creek that crosses the road and flows down and out towards town. And I mean, standing here looking at it, you wouldn't think that it would be that hard because there's not really much of a rise here to the naked eye. Well, after Nate got it surveyed, in order to take that lateral and run it out the back like we initially planned, there's gonna have to be a 5 foot or a 500 foot long cut at its deepest point, 3 foot deep, to be able to get his tile machine in, and his tile machine can dig down 8 foot. So we were gonna have to be 11 feet deep at its deepest point to get the tile low enough to drain all this out to the back of that creek. And a 500 foot long cut, 14 foot wide, by the time you get enough room to get his digger in there with it and have enough room for him to throw his spoil pile while he's digging the trench and yada yada yada, that's quite a scar on the land to try to get healed up. So I mean, I'm not saying it's not still on the table, but then we started exploring the idea of running up front here to the ditch, which can't obviously run to this ditch because this ditch is too high, and that's part of where the wet spot comes from in this field. Is the ditch isn't low enough to take off the water, and the water just stays standing in the ditch and you get a wet spot. But you get on the other side of the driveway and the ditch actually drops off fairly substantially. Well, it should drop off fairly substantially. As you can see, our county drain commission is not exactly the most proactive about maintaining our ditches. And the last time I remember, we have at least 2 gray dolls that I know of. One of them's yellow and one of them's a newer gray one. But the last time I remember a gray doll coming down this road and cleaning ditches, I was probably 5, 6 years old. So you're talking, you know, 22, 23 years, somewhere in there. That it's been since they maintained any of the ditches down this road, or most of the ditches in this area, period. So that's the other part of the problem, is none of the ditches, or this ditch, hasn't been maintained. And there are Well, this little patch of trees is growing right in the middle of the ditch. There's a tree there in the middle of the ditch. There's a tree there in the middle of the ditch. There's a tree there in the middle of the ditch. You got all these trees that are going right in the middle of the ditch. So water backs up all the way down to the waterway, and it takes it, you know, if we get a decent rain, it takes this ditch somewhere between 3 to 4 days, depending on how much rain we get, to actually drain to dry, because it takes it that long. It takes the water that long to get past all these trees that have grown in the middle of the damn ditch. But I digress. There is enough fall once we come to this point. If the ditch was dug like it's supposed to be, because the ditch actually crosses over the road, and then on the other side of the road the ditch is like 10 foot deep. There's enough fall that we could tie into the ditch. We'd have to get on the other side of this pole, because there's a bunch of phone lines and crap right here that naturally have to cross the ditch, unless we went under them, which would not be fun. You'd almost have to use a hydro excavator for that, so that you didn't hurt the lines. But anyway, so if the ditch was dug, then we could do that. Well, we went through all the bullshit with the county, and we've got permission to tie into the ditch. Now we're down to going through all the crap with the county of, who's going to be the one to dig the ditch? Do I have to dig the ditch? Which would be bullshit, because, you know, we pay taxes for that. Tax money should be used to take care of the county drains, which doesn't happen. Or will they dig the ditch? And then if they dig the ditch, apparently it's for some reason $1,000 a tree for every tree that they have to take out. Again, tax money should be going towards that, because it's the county drainage commission's job to maintain the county drains, and they don't. But anyway, that's where we're at right now, and that's why this field isn't getting plowed yet, because I don't know what's going on with it. But I want to get it mowed so that at least it doesn't look like this. So I was hoping to possibly be able to cut some beans or shell some corn, and I spent all yesterday afternoon checking corn. I found some that was down to 21.9. The wettest I found was still 32%. I'm probably gonna wait at least one more week before I jump on to corn as a last resort type of thing. And if we'd had full sun today, you might have been able to think about cutting some beans tomorrow, but we didn't have full sun, and I bet the beans are, I checked some when I was trying to decide what I wanted to do, and beans are still easily 18%, if not higher. There was a few guys running today, but everybody I know that was running is sticking them in a bin with a dryer. They're not hauling them in. They're not dry enough for that. So this is what I got. We got rain starting Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And I think we got 2 or 3 dry days next week, and then after next week we got rain all the way through till the 24th. So this is not good. At this point, you might as well plan on shelling corn into December. It's going to happen when it's pretty much inevitable now. But I do, looking at this, I do want to throw another stop on that cylinder, because it's sitting right flat on the ground. We're not mowing a golf course. It doesn't need to be shaved. It just needs to look decent. See what this one makes it look like. looks more better. Got the skid shoes off the ground, that's all I care about. So anyhow, this ought to make the old 19 bark. it looks a lot better. Surprisingly, there wasn't as many weeds out here as I thought, and there's a pretty, I think all this grass is volunteer wheat, I think. It's not really windrowed like you'd expect, but I also had to rake it, so that would have spread it out some. But if it is volunteer wheat, it's a nice little cover crop. I would expect it would have been a little taller by now, but you never know. And as a bonus, there was like 8-10 bales out here that were wet when I baled it, and I just left them out here in the field and never got around to coming out and picking them up. And that thing picks up high enough, you just drive up over the bale, set the mower down on it, it obliterated a bale, and away you go. So I'd rather been running combine and getting something productive done, but that probably ain't gonna happen. If nothing else, I'm gonna start corn next week during that dry spell, because we got to make some progress on something. But I don't know, I wish somebody could tell me what the right answer is this year, but I don't think there is one. So I think tomorrow, while it's nice out, I'm gonna try to get the drill calibrated for wheat, so that if that time ever comes, that's ready to go. And then it's going to start raining again, so I guess we'll have to see how things play out. But Dad's bringing me leaf blower so I can get the mower blown off, and Nick said don't worry about washing it, 'cause he's going to chop stalks with it anyhow. So run this back to him tomorrow afternoon in the daylight, because I don't want to trek that far in the dark. So anyhow, I guess that's it for this one. I'll catch you guys on the next one.